This week on Channel 8 News, the Northwest community got its first look at the university's presidential finalists, the success of the Bearcat basketball teams, new businesses in Maryville, and more. Your Channel 8 News starts right now. Thanks for tuning in to Channel 8 News, the show where we provide the latest news and sports coverage on the Northwest Missouri State University campus and in the Maryville community. I'm Kirsten Stokes. And I'm Alexis Kuhnert. Before we get into this week's stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and updates. This past year, one question has been on the minds of Northwest students and Maryville residents. Who will be the next university president? The Northwest Board of Regents searched to fill the vacated position back in early September after contacting 200 potential candidates. Now that question will soon be answered as 4 finalists were named to be the university's next president. The 4 finalists have been invited to campus for public interviews with all the Northwest stakeholders. Last week, Northwest held 2 open forums with its first candidate, Kent Porterfield. Here's what we know about Northwest's potential next president.
On April 1st of 2022, Dr. John Dzinski, who served as the 10th president for the university, announced his separation from the institution. This led to interim president Clarence Green to take temporary placement until a new president was decided. The Board of Regents has announced 4 finalists in the running to become the 11th president of the university: Dr. Lance Tatum, Dr. David P. Jones, Dr. Michael Goddard, and Dr. Kent Porterfield. The first finalist is Dr. Lance Tatum, who has served Chief Academic Officer at Troy University in Troy, Alabama, as well as Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Other candidates in the running for the presidency include Dr. David P. Jones, who is the Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management at Minnesota State University, Mankato since 2012. He served as Assistant Vice President at the University of Alabama for Student Affairs and was the Executive Director of Housing and Residential Communities. Dr. Michael Goddard serves Provost at Southeast Missouri State University in Cape Girardeau since 2019. Goddard has previously served as Interim Provost as well as Vice Provost for Enrollment Management and Student Success at the University of Central Missouri. Among the other candidates, Dr. Kent Porterfield is the only running candidate that has been previously employed at Northwest for 16 years in various roles. On Thursday, February 2nd, Dr. Kent Porterfield, who is the Vice Provost of Student Affairs at Gonzaga University, had his first candidate forum for the community of Northwest. The first candidate forum of the month was presented by Dr. Kent Porterfield at the Ron Houston Center for the Performing Arts. This Q&A forum allowed the Northwest community to ask thought-provoking questions for Dr. Porterfield and help them better understand his vision as potential president for the university. Dr. Porterfield discussed topics about diversity and inclusion, the overall concerns of students on campus, and his ideas for raising the enrollment rates for the university. There are 3 more candidate forums for the rest of February, and the Northwest community is invited to attend. For the stories that matter to you, I'm Kirsten Stokes with Channel 8 News. The feedback from these public interviews will be provided to the Board of Regents for a final selection. It is expected that an offer will be made sometime this spring with the goal of having a new president starting July 1st. And in other news, February is Black History Month, and Northwest is hosting multiple events to honor and understand the impacts of Black heritage and culture. This month's theme is Black Resistance, meaning these events will teach how Black people fought oppression in U.S. history. Last week, Northwest hosted a Black History Mobile Museum. Here's Tristynn Clark with the story.
As we start a new month in 2023, we are also entering Black History Month. Black History Month is a month to celebrate and honor African Americans that have helped shape our nation. Northwest's Office of Diversity and Inclusion has set up events throughout February to showcase Black History Month. The first one was a mobile museum. Founded by Detroit public school educator Khalid El Hakim, the Black History 1010 Mobile Museum has an archive of more than 1,500 rare Black memorabilia, items, and artifacts. The mobile museum presents powerful displays that celebrate the Black experience. Some of the highlights of the collection are documents signed by many significant historical figures. I spoke with National Director Kavan Shah, who said his overall goal was to raise the conscious level of everyone who walked in.
Ultimate goal with actually setting up this particular exhibit for Black History Month, I think it's on 3 levels. One, of course, Black History Month, and a lot of schools are having programs. So you kind of figure you have to make the most of the few minutes that they give you with the interaction between the students.
I asked him what his favorite artifact was, and he said,
This one is it's called the Manila. This piece right here is called the Manila. And the Manila was a form of currency that they used to use to buy black African slaves. And reason now why I keep it in my pocket and why is it my favorite is to remind myself every day you cannot put a value on a human being.
I also talked with a student at the event and asked them what they took away from this event.
As we talked about, we kind of saw like the dark history or the dark past of black history at the beginning, and then towards the end of the exhibit we saw kind of how we have like developed. We've gotten so far from racism and all the things that we've gone against.
The following events around campus will be later in the month. Stay tuned to Channel 8 News for more stories to follow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Back to you in the studio.
As Tristyn mentioned, there will be some upcoming events during Black History Month, including a movie screening and art exhibit. For information about these events and Black History Month, click on the link in the description below.
When we return, we'll be kicking it over to Bearcat Update with Skyler Stamps. He'll look at the successful season of the Bearcat basketball teams and the shattered records of Northwest track and field. You're watching Channel 8 News on KNWT.
Northwest Tower Yearbook has dedicated over a century to documenting life on campus and in the Maryville community. The award-winning organization has numerous Pacemaker Awards and a spot in the Associated Collegiate Press Hall of Fame. Learn more about Tower at the handles below.
Hey, have you been? Oh, nothing much. Yeah, I'd love to chat soon. I've just been really busy recently. Yeah, I could probably squeeze you in. Let me check. Let's see. How about Wednesday at 6? Alright, sounds good. See you then.
Welcome back to another season of Bearcat Update. I'm Skyler Stamps. The Bearcats were busy this week on the court and on the track. I was inside Bearcat Arena on Thursday night to catch the women's basketball team in action versus Emporia State. Bearcat Arena was rocking as the Northwest Missouri State women's basketball team took the court Thursday night as they took on the Hornets from Emporia State. The Bearcats came into the game with an overall record of 10 wins and 10 losses, with 3 of the last 4 games ending in a 1-point Bearcat defeat. They looked to get back on track with a win over the Hornets. Kelsey Fields would win the opening tip and the game was underway. Both teams were struggling to find the bottom of the net, but Kaylin Keston drills the three-pointer assisted by Evelyn Vasquez. With a great defensive effort, the Bearcats would lead at the end of the first, 12-10. In the second quarter, Jana Green's jumper is just off the mark, but sophomore Kelsey Fields is there for the putback. The Bearcats would trail by 9 at the half after Emporia's Jacoby Treasure nails the 3 at the buzzer. Bearcat fans were loud as the Hornets saw their 10-point lead vanish in the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Peyton Kelderman's free throw would cut the Hornet lead 41-39. Kylie Shear would nail the 3 with ice in her veins to spark a Hornet run. The Bearcats had no answer for the Hornets late in the fourth quarter as they took the 52-42 win. In the final stats for the game, the Bearcats had 22 offensive rebounds, but field goal percentages would be the story of the night for both teams. After the game, I caught up with sophomore guard Peyton Kelderman. Kelderman tallied a team-high 11 points as well as 2 rebounds and an assist. She touched on how she improved during the offseason.
Biggest thing this offseason is I was just getting a lot of repetition with my shot. I wanted to get my percentage up from the 3-point range, so just Coach Meyer challenged us to make 20,000 shots this summer, so that was my goal this summer and in the offseason.
Kelderman also mentioned how the Bearcats can get back on track after the recent losses.
Just take care of what we can control, so like making good defensive plays, talking to each other, and then just not getting in our heads, just knowing that we've put in the work, so just believe in ourselves and believe in our shots.
The Bearcats will hit the road and head to Claremore, Oklahoma for a matchup with Rogers State this Thursday at 5:30. The number 4 ranked Bearcat men would go on to avenge their early season loss to the Hornets in convincing fashion, 63-52, capturing its 20th win for the 12th straight season. Head coach Ben McCollum thanked Bearcat Nation that night for making Bearcat Arena the best atmosphere in Division II with just over 2,000 passionate fans in attendance. Just days later, Bearcat basketball was back in action on Saturday for what might be one of the craziest women's basketball games in Northwest history. Here are some of the highlights from the wild finish versus the Washburn Ichabods. In a back-and-forth game at Bearcat Arena, the game came down to the final seconds. With under 20 seconds left, Peyton Kelderman's three was just off the mark, but Jana Green gets the board and kicks out to Molly Hartnett, who buries the three. The Bearcats would tie the game with 5 seconds left. 5.5 seconds. After Washburn took a timeout to advance the ball, Macy Doble would put the ball off the backboard and in to take the lead with 1.4 seconds remaining. The Bearcats would have one last chance. Emma Atwood would inbound the ball to Hartnett once again, who puts up a heave that just misses. But wait, a foul on the shot attempt was called and Hartnett gets 3 chances at the line. On her first free throw attempt, Hartnett would get the friendly roll, where she would go on to make the second to tie the game. With the game tied at 67, Hartnett nails the third free throw with 0.1 seconds remaining. Most thought the game was over, but before the inbound, Jana Green committed a foul to send the Ichabods to the line for 2 with a chance to win the game. Dublé would miss the first, but nail the second, and just like that, we're in overtime. After battling back after being down in overtime, it's Molly Hartnett again with the 2 after driving into the lane to put the Bearcats up by 1. Washburn's final chance would once again come down to Dublé, but this time the layup is off the mark and the Bearcats win 76-75 in front of a packed Bearcat Arena.
75 in overtime victory for Northwest Missouri.
The men would go on to thump the Ichabods 79-53 after they took control of the game from the opening tip. From the court to the track, 5 records were broken at Hughes Fieldhouse this past weekend at the Bearcat Invite. Euler Possamai has more.
Northwest has recently been doing amazing at track and field. Saturday was the last day of the 3 days of the Bearcat Invite for the Northwest Missouri State indoor track and field team at the Hughes Fieldhouse. And like the previous days, Bearcats set another record for the school and also in the nation. The team of J.D. Cummins, Luzeri Toledo, Bailey Blake, and Tiffany Huey took the title with the NCAA Division II provisional qualifying time of 3 minutes and 43 seconds, breaking the fieldhouse and meet records for the 4x400 meter relay, and also ranking first in the United States. Tiffany also set a new school record 2 weeks ago, ranking as the best times in the MIAA in the 200 meter and 400 meters this year, and was named the MIAA Women's Indoor Track Athlete of the Week. The men's 4x400 meter relay took 4th place with an NCAA Division II provisional qualifying time of 3 minutes and 15 seconds. The team consisted of Raheem Williams, Danny Jensen, Truman Hare, and Federico Crisi. This time is 8th best in program history. The Northwest track and field team will be competing next on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Washburn University, and without a doubt will keep on making us proud. Back to you guys.
Some other school and facility records were broken this past weekend, including the men's and women's distance medley and Reese Smith in the men's mile. As Euler mentioned, the Bearcat track and field team will be back in action this week at Washburn for a 3-day event. That's all the time we have here for Bearcat Update. Be sure to tune in next time to stay connected to all things Bearcat sports. When we come back, we'll look at some of the new businesses here in Maryville. You're watching Channel 8 News on KNWT.
KNWT for Hire is all about sharing a story, a message, and connecting the community. We cover a multitude of events, both within the university and Maryville. We roll in, we set up, and we capture. We're here to offer an experience, not only for those present, but for all.
Hey guys, I'm Garrett Bevins. And I'm Jonas Pilot. You should come watch our show Gen 2, where we cover a variety of gaming news and games.
So tune in to our new episodes that post every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Tristyn Clark with your business and community news. Maryville McDonald's lovers need to be cautious this week. That's because the McDonald's South Main entrance will be closed for concrete replacement. To enter, access will be open on South Avenue, and the southern entrance to Walgreens will act as a temporary entrance to McDonald's. The South Main entrance will reopen next week on Monday, February 13th. In other news, the Maryville area has been rapidly expanding with the growth of new businesses. Here's reporter Riley Westpfahl with the update.
Several new businesses have popped up around Maryville in the last few months, giving residents and Northwest students returning from winter break something to look forward to entering the new year. These openings come at a time when local favorites such as Sears, GameStop, and Board Game Cafe have been forced to close their doors. I had the chance to speak with a barista at the Perk to see exactly what one of these new businesses has to offer.
The coffee shop has been open for about 4 or 5 months now. The card side of things has been about a year. It reached a year in October. We do allow people to bring in their own games or buy some of the ones we do offer. We do plan on expanding it, but you can buy them or bring in your own games and sit around and enjoy playing and hanging out in the coffee shop. We've got Pokemon cards, Dungeon and Dragon stuff, Magic, all sorts of card things. So far, drinks, it's just a bunch of coffee, I guess. But we do offer a bunch of other things. We are planning on getting into boba and smoothies. We will have quite a variety. I think Maryville is a good place to open up a small business because there's a lot of space, and it's a college town. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of traffic coming into town for football games, college kids wanting things to do. There was not very much recently, but I think we are starting to get more businesses, which is good for the community.
I was also able to sit down with an employee of Daylight Donuts to get a peek inside of a business that opened just this last month.
The store opened December 30th of this year, and I started 3 days after. So we've got a bunch of different types of donuts, and then we also have breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, kolache, donut holes, and a bunch of drinks. So they opened the shop here because they love the community, and there wasn't a donut shop or anything like that, so they thought it would be a good place to introduce one.
Along with the Perk and Daylight Donuts, you can find other businesses all over Maryville that have recently opened their doors and are looking for local support. Until next time, this has been Riley Westphahl with Channel 8 News.
And one other not-so-new recreational business in the area was ranked as the best in Missouri. According to a press release, Mozingo Lake Golf Course was rated as the #1 golf course in the state by Golf Pass Plus Golfer's Choice Awards. The golf course offers 27 holes, a world-class pro shop, driving range, and indoor swing bays. Also, with national recognition from USA Today and Golf Digest, the course is ranked 34th as the top golf course in the United States and #4 for overall best value. That's all for your business and community update. I'm Tristyn Clark. Back to you.
Thanks, Tristyn. Well, that's all the time we have here for Channel 8 News. Be sure to click on the links below to rewatch certain sections of our show, as well as some upcoming events here at Northwest.
We also want to hear from you, so leave a comment below on these stories, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and updates, as well as other content on our YouTube page at KNWT TV. For the stories that matter to you, this has been Channel 8 News.